we are, Chica's Party World. I hope the pay is worth it.
I sat and played through 5 nights at Chica's Party World for about 6 hours total, and I still know next to nothing about the game. It is a FNAF fan game, of course, and this game seems to be an updated version of itself because there are new nights, or there are also classic nights you can play, and apparently it's not to be confused with the other fan game, Chica's Party World from 2023, which has a different art style and also it's a point-and-click game. And Chica's Party World 2023 is a remake of a separate game from 2018 called Chica's Party World. And all of these game titles originate from the fact that supposedly in the source code of the official sister location FNAF game, there is a phrase that says Chica's Party World. And so many people in the FNAF community therefore have taken this to mean that at some point, in addition to the quadrillion restaurants in the main story of FNAF, the inclusion of this Chica's Party World may suggest a sister location to the sister location to the other locations. All of this theorizing, and no one's asking, who the hell let William Afton keep his business license and permits after so many forced foreclosures? 5 Nights at Chica's Party World is a bit of an outlier in the FNAF fan game space, in my opinion. It doesn't even have a listing anywhere on the FNAF fan game wiki, and I've also barely seen anyone talk about it extensively online, besides gaming YouTubers, most of whom did very incomplete playthroughs of it. It's almost like the community has rejected this creation entirely, probably because of the things I will tell you about in the video. I think 5 Nights at Chica's Party World has some real classiness to it, and polish, and compelling lore. I'm lying. I'm lying. I'm straight up lying. It's batshit crazy and no one knows what's going on, and honestly, it's kind of a hard game to play properly, so barely anyone has the patience to stick it out, including me. I have never played a FNAF game, and I'm not about to start learning the mechanics now, so I used all of my laziness to find different ways to perch atop places in the game and watch everything unfold before me. This video is not going to dive super deep into every aspect of the story of the game, mostly because I'm working on longer videos right now that take priority, and because the lore of this game is quite honestly not that captivating to me. Let's be real, any lore introduced in the main FNAF games after FNAF 4 were not captivating to me. But there is some appeal that 5 Nights at Chica's Party World has. This game has me in its grip and I can't look away. Maybe it's the shockingly decent animatronic models, or the way that the game skirts almost too closely to copyright infringement at times, or the jarring minigames that reportedly pull directly from Sonic. I've never played the Sonic games, so yeah. Or maybe it's the free roam aspect of it all, and the horrifying scale of some of these animatronics. Or maybe it's the way the AIs fluidly navigate their environment and intuitively interact with one another. Let's start at the beginning of the game. The intro title screen is cool because you can click your mouse and look around a 3D space while inside of the title screen. Baby is there and she has some interesting implants. And on the other side of the room behind you is Balloon Boy. I like this lighting bloom effect that happens here. Like, focusing too long on the animatronics will do this weird light shift thing and they'll fade into the background until you turn back around. The colors in this game are all neon purples and greens and oranges. Pretty much everything is shaded like a vaporwave aesthetic acid trip, especially when you do the special challenge nights. And trust me, we will get to the special challenge nights. I quickly learned the graphics settings don't work, and if I tried to use them, my game would crash and also look visibly worse. The help instruction screen did not in fact help me at all. It just launched me into this overwhelming lobby area where I got to look at all of the animatronics, but I wasn't told how to use any of the controls or which keys did what. It took me like 2 hours of gameplay before I realized how to open up my inventory. Overall, not the world's best user interface, especially because this game has so many spelling errors, like so many of them. So inside of this instructions lobby is pretty much a giant info dump on every single animatronic in the game. And I didn't want to spoil the fun for myself, so I wasn't planning on looking at these until later, but I was scared that these would be the only proper looks at the animatronics I would ever get. Since going into this, I had the intention to play the game properly, but about night 4, I completely let that go. Little did I know, I would basically be able to park myself in a corner somewhere and get unlimited views of the animatronics, and I wouldn't have to play the game properly. But still, here is a survey of what's in store for us. Keep in mind that the main game has one office type, but some of these animatronics are only in the challenge nights, but for some reason they're all displayed at the same time. So if some of their mechanics sound weird, it's probably because they're not in the main game, but they're in the challenge part of the game. I don't know why they weren't separated. Alright, so here's the roster. Circus Clown, clearly just entered. He goes in the vents. JJ, she also vents. If she sees you, she run at you and hack your security doors so that if they're down, they will open and you cannot change it. Funtime Chica just walks around and goes to your doors, but will occasionally get a cupcake in her hand that makes her silent, so the game tries to convince you that this will make her even harder to catch, but you can literally just listen for her insanely loud footsteps. Like, it's not that big of a deal. Lolbit, she's the Foxy, basically. She fucking sprints everywhere she goes, and it is hilarious to watch. Also, she can hack your keypads, but you're just supposed to type in this basic code to get her to go away. Out of Order Chica. She also just walks around. She's weird, and she has this obviously ballooned out chest. Okay, and her bib is just the same text file of the rules of the restaurant. She can also hack you, by the way. Showtime Freddy plays out a bunch of Kellen voice lines, including ones with the German accent. He also has weird symbiotic Funtime plushies clinging to him, and they're their own threat because they also vent and they attack you one time total in the night. Showtime Baby. This is Circus Baby with glowing nipples and a set of balloons tied to her back, and she floats around on roller skates. As if any of that is possible within the realm of physics. Also, she has the power to camouflage, which is just fucking ridiculous. Old Circus Clown is just a fancier innard who appears in the vents and makes your doors appear invisible, and you have to slide a key card to get rid of him. Then there's the Withered animatronics, and they show up in a different office location only in the challenge nights. There's Withered Funtime Chica, she just walks. Withered Lolbit also just walks, but both of them have a cool limping animation, and I thought this was pretty cool. But when Lolbit runs, she still limps, so you get this amazingly goofy ass animation. Withered Circus Clown vents, and he also apparently goes onto the roof and jumps into the middle of the floor. I never saw that during my gameplay. Withered JJ pops up in the vents, and I think she will just annoyingly follow you or block you, but her character description doesn't say that, so maybe the JJs that I've encountered are bugged, I don't know. Withered Mermaid Baby. She's a mermaid. This is FNAF Baby, but with a random ass orange mermaid tail, and I love her. She just swims in water, which you'd think would be detrimental to a robot with exposed wiring, but whatever. Then she jumps out of the water and slithers around very ungracefully. The vintage animatronics are not very visually striking. They're all a bit nasty. They also show up in a different office location during a challenge night. Vintage Chica just walks around. Vintage Bonnie just walks around. Vintage Lolbit / Tangle. I guess they couldn't come up with just one name for this. She just runs around. She's just there. BB and old JJ are also just there. I think they tamper with the lights and the doors, but they just kind of walk around. Then there are the animatronics that are so random, I don't even know why the dev bothered putting these in, other than to do a bit of an animatronic showcase. You can tell they wanted so badly for this game to be considered as like a free roam ultimate custom night, but that's not possible. Springlock Chica has the worst eyes that I've ever seen, and I hate her. The old Circus Clown, he's just silly. He's just chilling most of the time. I'm not sure if I've ever organically even seen him. Funtime Foxy is basically Lolbit, so again, what's the point? Music Man is also just there. I never saw him during my gameplay, probably because in the levels that he's in, I did basically break the game by cheating a little bit and jumping out of bounds. Dee Dee is there. I genuinely cannot tell the difference between Dee Dee, BB, JJ, and Balloon Boy. Now there are the Super Funtime animatronics, which are like the futuristic ones, and they are also only seen in a challenge night. There's Super Funtime Freddy, which is a giant Freddy that always seems to make a beeline for you right when 6 a.m. happens. When playing the game, even when the 6 a.m. timer goes off, you still have to wait like a few seconds until the game actually ends. So if you get jump scared even after 6 a.m. happens, you still lose. So I think this Freddy is a way of catching the player off guard right when they think they're safe. Super Funtime Chica is there. Super Funtime Bonnie just walks around. Super Funtime Fredbear, not to be confused with Super Funtime Freddy, is a weird freak and I do not like him. Super Funtime Spring Bonnie, not to be confused with Super Funtime Bonnie, is equally a freak and I don't like him. Super Funtime Lolbit is just there, and I don't think she even runs, but she has like a little bonbon puppet on her arm who will vent. Super Circus Clown is just yellow, regular Circus Clown. Spring Chica, not to be confused with Spring Lock Chica, just shows up and takes off her head sometimes to show her endoskeleton. Also, I don't know why every picture of every animatronic has like a little blue dongle on them. And I'm pretty sure that Freddy's image still has the HDRI behind it, but none of the other images have it. It's just so inconsistent. And those are all of the animatronics in the game, except they're not, because there are some nights that still have color variants of animatronics, and there are some nights where I have seen stuff that explicitly is not on the main board whatsoever. So let's start talking about the disjointed organization of this game. Five Nights at Chica's Party World technically has 18 nights that you can play. 6 regular remastered nights, 7 of the original nights from the earlier version of the game, I think, and 6 special challenge nights, which is where shit goes sideways. This game is pretty chunky. It has so much material. Besides the regular nights, it has confusing moments between nights, and then there are mini-games, and then there are other mini-games with no instructions, and then like 5 different endings somehow, and then 4 or 5 videotapes you can watch, and a ton of documents you can pick up, and then a couple of short cutscenes between the challenge nights. So the lore is overwhelming to put together. So let me just summarize it in like 5 or 6 sentences. William Afton and Henry suck at maintaining their business ventures as usual, so they yet again have to find a new restaurant. Afton wants to open up Chica's Party World. There's some lore about the year 1980, and there's this weird experimental prototype Chica animatronic. That, by the way, is not on the main animatronic list, but she's like the main character of the lore, and she doesn't look anything like Chica if you ask me, but okay. But she like replaced the other Chicas by murdering them, and then also caused this giant massacre or something of 1980. Okay, and so then Afton is like, you know where we put the bad robots that do the massacring? We put them in the pit. And so this restaurant, for some reason, instead of recycling old animatronic parts and selling them to like, you know, like a junkyard for extra cash or something, Afton decides to pour financial capital into building a humongous pit underneath this restaurant where there is an everlasting raging fire, and the molten souls of the animatronics get burned in the fire, and at the very end of the game they've all turned into a giant monster. But we'll get to the giant monster in a few minutes. On to the actual gameplay and the restaurant itself. After the lovely title screen, you get a lovely crunchy loading screen, and then you start in the front entrance. Plus top tier voice acting.
Here we are, Chica's Party World. I hope the pay is worth it.
There are nice immersion elements like menus and a little music box and a cash register, which I immediately tried to rob, but there were no interactions that I could have with it, so I was sad. And I also went and looked outside and saw a great expanse of gray water and like concrete structures. What horrible liminal plane of existence does this restaurant reside on? And then there is the main dining room where the animatronics of the restaurant seem to be Lolbit, Chica, and Circus Clown. Those are like the headliners. Truly a strange combination. Like, what do they do? In the very first FNAF game, at least Freddy and all the other animatronics had instruments, or they could sing or entertain the kids in some way by having like a gimmick about them. But these are just robots. I don't know what they're supposed to do to entertain the kids. It's like we're post mascot horror now, where no one's even trying to keep up the illusion that these restaurants are first and foremost for children. It just feels very flat and one-dimensional. Like, what merit would children get out of a robotic mermaid that has a fucking potato peeler for an arm? Like, why would that be in a children's restaurant? Then again, I would come to this restaurant even if there are killer animatronics, because their soda is only $1. The graphics of the game are, like, pretty good. The voice acting isn't the worst thing in the world. Everything feels solid so far, but it will get crazier. The inconsistency of the game also got under my skin. Every animatronic is still, but Circus Clown is always the only one with an idle animation actively going, and his voice lines never stop playing, even though for most other animatronics there are 0 voice lines. And one Chica has AI generated text-to-speech as her voice line, which I would be mad at, but then again, like, she is a robot, so okay.
Stop hiding birthday bowl. Otherwise I will have to open the doors myself.
This animatronic is the main mascot of this establishment. It doesn't seem like much of a threat. This animatronic fox seems fast. It could turn out horrible if it is aggressive.
Very normal thing for a security guard on their first day to think very naturally. I also noticed the vending machines have different flavors: murder, rage, and wuss, the 3 genders. Then we roll into the party room, the arcade area where Circus Baby is inside of the Foxy Pirate Cove curtain, and she has the chin of a Chad. I love the scale of the animatronics, but how did these restaurants realistically expect children to like this? And this security guard that we play as is coming in here ready to throw down. Like, he's like, I could completely fry the main systems and explode this entire place if put into a life or death situation. Like, this man is letting the voices win. There's Freddy in the corner. He's tall. It's like Freddy if he was sponsored by the Red Cross. The scariest thing in the restaurant is the lack of sanitation. These donuts are on no napkins, no paper plates. The sodas are just sitting out in the air getting hot and flat. Let's begin talking about the nights. At first, I did try to play this properly, which was hard because I still didn't know how to open my inventory and there were no control instructions. But pressing buttons, I discovered there's a glow stick and laser and cameroid and lighter component to this game. Fuck that. And then I realized how grating the jump scare sounds were and how complicated the mechanics were going to be. This game is obviously free roam, and you're not bound to the main office. You can run around. But inside of the main office, you have to manage 2 doors, a giant-ass vent in the wall, 3 separate keypads, and a wireless payment system where you scan your key card. There's also 5 cameras that you look at, and you have to try and not lose power, which is impossible because the power ticks down in pretty big increments pretty quickly. This office is used for the main nights of the game, but then, as I mentioned before, it will change later on if you do challenge nights. There's also a phone guy variation, and he sounds so over it.
Hey there, this is a pre-recorded message, so don't even bother speaking back.
There are even moments where the guy explicitly makes so many mistakes during the recording, but the devs never edited the mistakes out. It's so embarrassing.
People looking for drama left, right, and center just to... People looking for drama left, right, and center just so they can make a quick buck.
Nothing happened on night 1, and Circus Clown is barely a threat. I was running into more problems, accidentally bringing up the main menu and freezing the game. After night 1 is minigame 1, feeding cakes to children. You're playing as Chica, and you have to feed the cakes to the kids. The cakes make a violent sound when they hit something, and also you can launch them anywhere and they'll clip into the floor. The only way to win the game, in my opinion, is to go around slamming each child with a cake and hoping that they enjoy it. After the minigames, you go into your house. This looks just like my place. How did they know? And this is when I realized that there are healing pills that you can take because your health can go down. And also you get videotapes where you have to watch these Atari-style cutscenes between Afton and Henry that will give you even more lore. It's so annoying because as if the main game isn't confusing enough, even just putting in the VHS tape has like 6 different steps to it with like 15 sub-steps. It's so annoying. Also, for some reason in the game, these videotapes are from the arcade game you played last night. So I guess the mini games that we play are the same arcade cabinets in the party room of the restaurant, but also after we finish playing them in the real world of the game, they spit out VHS tapes as your prize. Like, okay. It's night 2. Chica and JJ are active. JJ isn't really an issue unless you actively want to play this game as intended, and in my notes for the night, I just wrote down, I have no idea what's happening. The jump scares, I have learned, have no finesse to them whatsoever. And you can also move while being jump scared, which makes me feel like they forgot to turn off character movement, or maybe this was meant for a VR format, but I'm not sure. That night I got bored just sitting around, so I decided to go run and hide in the bathroom stall. And it kind of worked. I passed the night. Minigame 2 is about catching this pizza truck on Niagara Falls Parkway. The graphics here are just mwah. And I wasn't sure what my objective really was because I technically caught up with like a black square on the back of the truck, but then I still lost because the truck stopped moving and I had to jump down to figure out what was going on, and then I lost it because I wasn't on the truck, but even though I was following the truck actively, whatever. Once you finish the minigame, the next Microsoft Paint cutscene is like Chica getting replaced into something. Who makes these VHS tapes logically? Next night, Lolbit becomes a problem. She sprints everywhere and she has the power to absolutely lock onto your location wherever you are in the building. So free roaming is not bad until you have her in the game. Which means that for this night, I wanted to hunker down and try and play correctly. Big quotation marks on correctly. I ended up just closing every single door, and turns out I made it to 3 a.m. pretty comfortably before the power went out. And after my power went out, I thought I was the goner, but in the darkness, Chica walked into my office and just stood there, menacingly. I could hear her voice lines too and everything, but then she just turned around and left because she couldn't see me, I guess.
Stop hiding birthday boy. Otherwise, I'll have to open the doors myself.
And then I won the third night. The next minigame is a shootout level, and I had to randomly press buttons on my keyboard and finally found that my inventory was the tab key. This is important because you will get hit during this shootout game, so I needed to be able to access painkillers to get my health back up. This minigame is like my least favorite part of Five Nights at Chica's Party World. It's shitty, the targets are poorly coded, the hitboxes are so finicky, you have to get so close to the target. And it's quite possibly the longest minigame, but one of the ones where you're required to win it to keep progressing. Like, there is no option to lose this one. Next VHS tape has a new guy named Gordon, and he's green. Gordon Ramsay? Oh my gosh. What if he wants to go undercover at Five Nights at Freddy's to rate their pizza? Has anyone done a Gordon Ramsay Five Nights at Freddy's crossover? Gordon Ramsay shows up to the Five Nights at Freddy's pizzeria and he's like, "The fuck is all this? Possessed robots? What is that in the back there? Children's souls? Oh, don't tell me." And then he opens the door and he's like, "Bloody hell, a withered mermaid baby. Fourth night has even more animatronics, and I started trying to find good places where I could begin to cheat because this became just a little bit too much for me. I tried the vents at first. There's an incline there that animatronics can't seem to get up, but Freddy's plushie gang were blocking me suddenly, and I didn't even know he was active this night. I tried to figure out how close I could get to them, but they just instantly jump scared me. Peeking the microphone, disgusting, horribly crunchy audio scream. I got pretty far into the night with 5 or so animatronics active, and I really did like the effects of their footsteps.
Oh, birthday boy! Come out wherever you are! Glad to have you back again. Come closer. I'll sing a song for you.
Every animatronic has slightly different walking sound cues. It actually instilled fear in me, and then I still ended up getting jump scared. At this point, I noticed that the name of the application that runs the game is called Mediocre, and so I said, yeah, I am not going to play this game properly. I did not want to have to type, swipe, and flash, so I said, no longer. I want to catalog the game, but not play it. I want to play it as little as I have to. I first learned about Five Nights at Chica's Party World from Astral Spiff, so I went to his channel to see if the areas he used as a perch could also help me out. I was worried that the dev probably would have fixed these by now, but nope. The best areas I have seen are the TV in the corner of the office,
Welcome to Chica's Party World, where fantasy and fun come to life.
and the stale donut flat soda table in the party room.
Come out wherever you are! Glad to have you back again. Come closer. I'll sing a song for you. You're back again. Are you the mercy or sad boy? Glad to have you back again. Come closer. I'll sing a song for you.
After the fourth night is the JJ Surprise minigame, a Sonic level where you have to tediously put numbers into doors until you find JJ. I accidentally fell down halfway through this level and my health dropped to 15%, so I had to finish out the level with an entirely blurry screen because I was determined to not have to replay it. It honestly made the experience more creepy. I did like it. The VHS for this night is Afton talking about prototype Chica and how obviously unfit she is for public unveiling, but they decide to bring her out anyway. During the 5th night, every animatronic is active. Chica, Lolbit, Circus Clown, Freddy, Flying Camo Baby. I sat hunched over in my little corner in the office just trying to make it through. And then when I passed the night this way, I thought it was too boring, so I went and I replayed it while deciding to visit the party room table to see what was going on. If you lodge yourself perfectly in between these 2 drink machines, most animatronics cannot get to you, even if they sense you there. And with me as the bait, the party got so much more fun.
Are you the first birthday boy? Over there in the dark. Come on out.
The next minigame is another cake feeding one. It's the same exact minigame. I don't know why this one was repeated. Then there's a cutscene where you're playing as Chica, but like the old Chica, so you have to go and find other old Chicas. And lo and behold, the super prototype Chica is there and she's so evil. The VHS tape after this one is about the blast pit. And there's a bunch of like MS Paint writing. It's so spoopy. Oh no. Night 6 is different because all of the animatronics are gone and we instead get Bonnie and this prototype Paradigm Chica. I do love Bonnie's little hopping animations. The animatronic designs and color schemes in this game are compelling. I was gonna thug it out in the office for this night, but Paradigm Chica has a strange and uncanny ability to see me on my TV perch, and she can get to me for some reason while in the office, so that was a no-no. So I decided to go into the party room, and I was very delighted to learn that this Paradigm Chica for some reason has a funky little beat going on that's attached to her speakers or whatever. While I was in the party room though, both of them spotted me on top of the drink machines, but neither of them could get to me, and so I just kind of had this very beautiful view for the rest of the night. And I don't know who else was introduced during this night, but at some point every time it turns to 6 a.m. there's like glass breaking somewhere, and I'm like, who the hell is that in the office breaking glass? I just don't know which character it is. Doing 6 nights in a row with no special lore bits will result in you just getting the Employee of the Month ending. You did your job properly, and I guess that's it. If you play through the nights normally though, and then you go into this back room area of the establishment, you will see this like Funtime Chica that I don't think is in the game, and then Prototype Chica gets angry, and then she catches you, and then she lands you in a warehouse that has a very different style than everything else. And the Circus Clown is patrolling, but he's not really a problem. You run through this warehouse area and then you go into the back room where a gray Chica is patrolling now. I swear a sequence like this was in another game. What game was it? Like, you're in the electrical panel room and you have to go and fix the different colored light canisters, and then Ennard is chasing you through a warehouse. Like, isn't that Help Wanted, or am I wrong? And then the trippiest ending of the game, the true ending, happens here. You are somehow in the bowels of Afton Robotics and you see the blast pit at last, which Paradigm Chica gets pulled into by a giant metal worm. It's basically like this game's version of the giant amalgamation of souls that was in like Security Breach, but instead of being a blob in this game they are a worm. And then you have to go through a portal to get to the engine room where you have to you have to so you have to shut down the worm or the room, or you're shutting down the pit. I don't know what you're shutting down. And then the worm is after you. No, the worm. And then you have to like keep typing in 1980 on these keypads over and over again, like specifically that one number. But then the worm is after you. Oh no. And then you go through another portal and then you hit a button and then the giant metal animatronic worm gets burnt by this two-dimensional fire animation, and then you get the true hero ending. Wild stuff.
Sunday at midnight, a disaster occurred at Afton's Robotniks. What seems to be a giant animatronic caterpillar almost destroyed the whole After Robotniks factory. Until one unlikely hero stopped that animatronic by burning it to molten scrap. Best out of tragedies. So we will try to take whatever this caterpillar animatronic was and try our best to improvise it going forward. Tragedies happen in this new year, 1983.
So technically that's the end of the game, but we have so much more to talk about. There is an extras menu, and I really like this feature. It's like a gallery where you can see all of the animatronics up close and personal, warts and all, but the text is behind them, which is really poorly planned out. And there are animatronics here again that are not in the main instructions of the game, but I guess that just keeps things fresh and exciting. And Paradigm Chica is the big baddie of the game, I suppose, but she's in the back corner of this room and generally not very specially treated. The Caterkiller, which is what this worm is called, and I kind of love that, it's also casually chilling in the back. But I do like that this is hidden, because genuinely you will not encounter this until the very end of the game, and it's a special ending. Someone in a comment section somewhere said this game reminded them of a Roblox layout, and I get it. With the like flat image assets plastered on a wall with a brick of unformatted left justified basic text. Also in this like extras space, I went into the vent and I found a weird secret watery area, but if you jump into the water you simply fall into oblivion, which triggered a weird phobia in me that I didn't know I had. It feels similar to a fear of the deep ocean, and there's something about falling into an endless void forever that freaks me out. So I reloaded as quickly as I could. In the extras menu, you can also change these animatronics to the vintage versions or alternate versions or variant versions. This game is insane. It's definitely trying to go with a more is more philosophy, but to the detriment of having a playable game. With the main story completed, I then tried out my perching strategies in the 7 original nights. I tried collecting scraps of lore super faithfully, and then I got bored, and I didn't want to take time to piece anything together. There aren't many differences between the main nights and these original version nights. JJ can come through the doors and glue herself to you. Lolbit is just the older version of Lolbit. The animatronics go all Blair Witch in the corner a little bit more often. The old Chica also sprints, and Freddy's eyes are purely bloodshot. Night 6 is insane. Instead of the normal Funtime Bonnie, there is this hideous goatee Bonnie, and his rig makes it so that all of his mesh is like pulling on itself, so his face is always smeared, and it's horrible. And he has the wrong jump scare. When I died on night 6, I got placed into this weird gray room with ladders. In the middle is a fire pit where all the animatronics are ragdolling around. I suppose this was the earlier version of the game's blast pit, and instead of a giant metal worm, it's just this. I parkoured up the ladders, and when I got up to the top, it was painfully empty, and I tried to go through the door, but then it cut out. Even though it looked like there was more beyond that, I don't know if I lost or if I won. Night 7 was uneventful, but I did get to see this rabbit a little bit more up close because both animatronics were completely stuck. The next finale piece is a weird cove where you have doors to close, and I didn't know what the game wanted me to do. Like, I unlocked the doors, they didn't open. I guess I should have tried a bit harder, but I'm so over the secret lore of some of these fan games, and frickin' Balloon Boy pinned me against the wall one time like I was some girl in a romance anime. So that soft locked me. I could only just look up at the beautiful clouds above. Now let's talk about the challenge nights. The most challenge I got out of the challenge nights was trying to find a place to sit where I didn't have to play the game. The first night I did was New Chica's Party World 1982, where every standard animatronic was active and it was the original office. So for me, it was easy peasy. The only thing that changed was there was now a purple overlay. Let's enjoy some fun, fascinating moments from this, shall we?
Welcome to Chica's Party World, where fantasy and fun come to life.
I honestly have no idea how any sane person would beat these nights normally, because this was ridiculous. I was fearing for my life being safe and standing on a drink machine. Every challenge night has some pre-recorded tape of some employee going through the building, looking at old animatronics, and I would try and discuss the lore implications, but the voice volume of these cutscenes is so freaking low that I just let them play out. Next up was Old Chica's Party World 1980, which has the same office layout, but it was a bit tougher to get perched into the right place. I then noticed that some details were changed. I guess this was meant to be the original 1980 location of Chica's Party World, so the walls were dirtier and older, things were a little bit rearranged, but the table still had those donuts and drinks, so that made me believe that the current version of the office has years old food and beverages still on the same years old tablecloth. Next, I started Super Chica's Party World 2024, and I was so scared because the office is different and so are the mechanics. I've been given a camcorder and a camera for some reason, and now the doors to the office are glass, so they're harder to see when I have them down or up. Pretty soon I was like, no, forget this, and I began seeking a way to once again get to higher ground. Turns out the booths in the party room work wonders. But somehow I died of gas disease, I guess, and then the Dark Souls Elden Ring death screen popped up. So I tried again and got Circus Clown to keep me some company while I watched over the restaurant. And at the end of this challenge night is a second secret challenge night where some giant animatronic has destroyed all of the other animatronics. I guess we're supposed to believe that Fredbear did it. I thought I was gonna pass this, but then somehow out of nowhere behind me, or like invisibly, Fredbear jump scared me, and he has one of the real FNAF jump scare sound bites, so okay. Vintage Chica's Party World 1992. This one is also a different location. Its layout feels pretty similar to FNAF 2, but I have become practically an expert at this point at secret hiding places, so I managed to find my beloved gay rainbow soda machine and watch comfortably from afar. Withered Chica's Party World 2005. God, how many freaking versions of one restaurant could there be? Like, Afton does not have time to do 20 versions of Chica's Party World and then sister location in the main games and then the other locations in the other games. This one scared me even more because the office was so confined and I was really worried that there wouldn't be a proper space for me to hide. Luckily, JJ saw me and then she attached herself to me for the entire game. So I jumped on the table and I thought I was a goner at first, but no. I don't know how, but I was practically Frenching these animatronics and they still couldn't kill me. It didn't make for great footage though, but I still went and tried hard mode, and while I thought that JJ was the secret to me glitching out and becoming unjump scareable, turns out if you just wiggle your way onto the monitor, no one can get to you. And I got to see the lovely mermaid baby in her natural habitat. This is the future of gaming. There's also an extras gallery for the challenge nights, as if we didn't have enough animatronics to go around. It's too much to even narrate, so I'll just let you watch me waddle around looking at all the cool, weird designs of every animatronic. I will say, the withered animatronics up close have a bit of leakage going on with their textures. The very final challenge night is total hell mode. This is the pinnacle of everything that Five Nights at Chica's Party World stands for. This is every single animatronic, even some that were never seen before. They all coalesce into this final battle. Even the damn caterpillar is there. The proper gameplay for this mode is that you have a gun, and you have to shoot the animatronics to make them disappear while the entire building collapses around you. But I'm anti-violence, so I just found a cozy spot. I saw Astral Spiff use it in his gameplay, and so I used this and just sat and watched. When you're in a safe place and you can observe the animatronics, it feels like you're staring into some sort of fish tank, just watching the AI go crazy while some of them try and reach you, and most of them just default back to whatever cycle that they have, visiting the office then running away. Friends, I deliver to you the most batshit insane clips from the 5 times that I replayed this level just to see all of the chaos that I could get. I could literally sit and replay Total Hell Mode for ages and just stare at what's going on. After this final ultimate challenge night, the game rewards you with a weird automated voice congratulating you on all of your hard work, which just makes me feel bad because I cheated. And then you get to leave through a door and you get to check out the credits, but I kept somehow finding secret places where the floor had no collision and I kept falling and getting pissed off that I fell. And then we get the credits. This is the extent of Five Nights at Chica's Party World, or at least the extent to which I'm willing to go. There are 5 endings to the game, and I only got 1 and 2 organically, but I'm still surprised at how much of the lore I was able to grasp even while giving no shits about it. I have no idea how you get the rest of the endings, but in order, they are Termination, another different Termination, and a missing ending. On the first night, I know that you do get a kitchen key, but in the kitchen there's absolutely nothing to do or interact with. And I don't even think I ever found a key card that I was supposed to use during the proper gameplay. If you do want to see someone play this game properly and thoroughly and get the endings, please go check out the other YouTubers who did try and finish this game as it was intended. I love the insanity and intensity of Five Nights at Chica's Party World. I think maybe this game kind of marks the official death of mascot horror, or at least properly illustrates the oversaturation of mascot horror in the indie horror genre nowadays. Not in a bad way, but in a, I think a game like this was inevitable kind of way. I think Five Nights at Chica's Party World is a beautiful disaster. Maybe one that's semi-self-aware, but not yet fully satire. I think the developer of this game should lean into it. Like, go full satirical, give us even more of this stuff. It's amazing. I'm gonna let you make your own opinions on this game, but I can say for sure that this has thoroughly fascinated me. Thank you for spending some time here on my channel, in my little corner, and I will meet you again in my next video. Goodbye.